I had to borrow we were going to sell the house, move into my auntie's bungalow with my auntie. My brother lent me enough money for the first pans. It was a complete risk. All of my money was in Mowgli. Do you know what I mean? It's that's scary, and it's still, honestly, I'm honest with you, it's still scary. You're only as good as your last curry. My name's Nisha Katona, and I'm the founder and CEO of Mowgli Street Food, and I risked it all, literally risked the roof over my head to follow my passion and bring my food to the streets. There was absolutely no playbook. I tell you, one of the big things for someone like me, so bear in mind I came into this industry, I'd been a barrister for 20 years. So I was in my 40s when I was thinking about doing a restaurant, and there were no role models. Honestly, there were no women. There were very few women, ones that I couldn't see anyway, that started restaurants like this, and certainly ones that look like me at my stage of life and all of that. And that's a big hurdle, because you think, hang on, there's no one else doing it that looks like me. So maybe I'm not meant to do this, and you've got to really dig deep and think, no, I'm going to build the playbook myself. I'll do it my own way, because you see this whole attitude about, in kitchens you've got to break people. You've got to break people and then reform them, and it's just nonsense, because what you end up with is just broken people, and I wanted to build it in a way that's kind of really maternal. I wanted Mowgli to be a place where I'd want my own family, people that I love, I would want to work here. They don't. but I wouldn't have my family in the business. But it's my team, I've got over 700 people now working for me, and they are literally like my kids. And I want it to feel like that. I wanted to build a place where they would rather be at work than be at home, because home can be a tough place when you're 25, So I had to really think afresh and think, how can I build this in a way that I'd want to build my own house? And it was like that. I had to sell the house, move into my auntie's bungalow with my auntie. My brother lent me enough money for the first pans. Because as a barrister, what happens is you're self-employed. So if you don't work, you don't earn. So while I was setting up Mowgli, I train, and I still do. I don't take Indian chefs. I take locals who don't know how to cook curry. That's my passion, is take Scousers, teach them how to cook like my nan. You know what I mean? And then if they leave, then at least there's someone out there that's cooking really good curry. So that takes time. So I was having to take time out of work, which meant I wasn't earning at the very time when I was trying to build a business. So I'd finish in court, 4 o'clock, hard hat, high vis, and I would physically build my first restaurant. Physically, not my second, and coming into my third, I was sanding the floors. I was, completely directing the whole of the build, and, they're building it with my own hands. The only time I saw my family is when they'd come in to the building site. It's still the case, actually, seriously. So it was a complete risk. All of my money was in Mowgli. Do you know what I mean? That's scary, and it's still, honestly, I'm honest with you, it's still scary. You're only as good as your last curry. You really are only as good as your last curry, and so that's why I designed Mowgli the way I designed it. I've designed it so if it fails, I could put coffee shops into all the Mowglis the next day, so that they don't look like Indian restaurants. They look like, oh, what the hell is this, So I still don't ever take it for granted. I was really passionate about Indian food, Indian food that people eat in their homes. I'm not talking about curry house food. I'm talking about how Indians eat in the privacy of their own homes, like at midnight, that's the kind of thing. And so I really wanted to sort of show people how we did that. And I used to do it by teaching Indian food while I was a child protection barrister. And then this thing about entrepreneurism. It's really interesting. I had nothing, honestly, but disdain for the hospitality industry, because you looked at it and you see Gordon Ramsay on TV rollicking his chefs, making people's lives a misery. It was all about brutality, testosterone. To me, it was almost like, those kitchen settings were almost like the settings of domestic violence, and I used to do a lot of domestic violence as a barrister, so I sort of understood what that looked like, and I thought it was a dreadful industry to come into. But entrepreneurism bit me, and I thought, if I'm addicted to this food, maybe others will be. And I sort of then started thinking, maybe I'll sell it out of a little stall in Liverpool, just sell 3 dishes, and see how that went. And then it was almost as though this Mowgli kept me awake at night and kept saying, kind of would wake me up in the middle of the night thinking, you can do this. I'm a barrister, and so that's always a backup plan. That'll be a backup plan till the day I die. So I'm, having practiced for 20 years, it's second nature to me to go and defend people. That's, so there is always that. And it's maybe that I have this other thing that I could do that made me a little bit more daring and happy with risk when I came to Mowgli, because I thought, I'm just going to do. It's a weird thing, honestly, and this is the other thing about founders, is that you can't stop yourself. You have it in your head that you want to do this. You found this. I honestly think you look at the market and you think, is there a gap in the market? Can my skills uniquely fill that gap? And if they can, you give it a go. The gap in the market was authentic Indian food. The way we eat at home, that healthy, really healthy, bright, zingy, fresh flavours, often plant-based, always gluten-free, that kind of thing. So that was the gap. I'm on my 5th cookbook now, and I for the media, I'm kind of a voice of Indian food. This is my specialty. So it fitted that. And then I just thought, well, I'm just going to go for it. And I just went for it. I did not look over my shoulder. I didn't question any part of it. I just knew I had to bring this thing alive. So there was a massive risk. I risked, honestly, the roof, and the roof over my head is still in Mowgli. You don't breathe out, I'm not secure. I don't take cash out of the business and have a luxurious life in that way. You keep grafting. I keep grafting. Whatever money Mowgli makes goes back into Mowgli, so that I can keep building. Because every Mowgli that I build, you create 40 jobs. We've given over £1.2 million to charity, to local charities through Mowgli. It's incredible. There are many, and we pay tax, and I'm proud of that. In this city, I'm proud of. Someone's got to pay for the roads, and I'm happy to do that. So, and it puts Liverpool on the map. We're, the first properly national chain across the United Nations. You've got, we're in Scotland, we're in Wales, and it's the first massive change to come out of Liverpool. And my head office is still here in Liverpool, and I'm really proud of that. So people want to come and meet me and talk about any aspect of business. They get on a train and they come to this city and see how great it is. So it's a risk that's been worth taking, absolutely. I haven't looked back. So once, and this is what I think entrepreneurism is like psoriasis, it just gets you. You do not want it, and you have to itch it, and you have to look after it, and you have to, your life is dominated by it. So the minute I started thinking, maybe I can sell this food, maybe there is something in this, there's a business in this, I would finish in court, honestly, and I would go and park up in different streets, corners of Liverpool, just to work out, where are the people that are a bit like me? Where are the people that would get this food? It was like a GCSE business thing that I was doing. I would, in my lunch breaks while I was in court, you'd take your wig and gown off, I'd go and sit outside Greg's, outside Philpott's, outside all the cafes in town, and work out who was buying what were the men buying, what were the women buying, were they always getting a drink, did they ever buy anything with spice in it? Just really did that sort of basic research. And very, very quickly I found a place on Bow Street. I couldn't believe it, and it's a weird thing in a way. It's like when you're meant to go on a journey, you push the doors and the doors fly open. There are some doors you push and they don't open, and they're closed for a reason. And what happened with my food journey, honestly, it was so weird, is that I just, parked up on Bow Street. I love Leaf, the Cafe Leaf. I love it, love everything about it. And the Chinese restaurant next to it had a sign above it saying, for sale or whatever, to let. So I literally thought, am I going to do this? And I rang the number. I was in my barrister suit in the car. And within about 10 minutes, the agent came out and met me. All these weird things where it just happened dead quick. I walked in and I could see Mowgli. And I still do that. I've got 21 sites now, and I handpick every one of them. And I literally go with my dog. I used to go with my mum in a mobility scooter, and I used to just think, is this? And you'd walk in and you get a feeling. I could see where the ropes would be. I could see where the swings were, and all of that. So it happened quickly. I was looking for a head office. Every Mowgli is dog friendly, and I wanted a dog friendly head office as well. So I was looking for the kind of place where I can bring my dogs, And this used to be my chambers. So I found this building 20 years ago for my chambers. I was a pupil then, and I was sent out to go and find a building because we were moving out of Church Street. Do you remember? Well, you won't remember because you're too young. But they used to be, you know, above the Debenhams, Chavasse Court. And so I found this building 20 years ago, and I love being in this building. You know, this was home to me for 20 years. So I was looking at a site round here, and then I said to the agent, do you know what? I spent 20 really happy years, and I was pointing to this building, and he said, well, weirdly enough, they might be coming out. So it is so serendipitous. It's almost to the day 20 years ago, but I took this building back as Mowgli's, we call it Mowgli Chambers, Mowgli head office. You know, so we've got sort of over 30 staff in here. But it's another great thing, you know, at the time post-COVID, when lots of businesses went under, when lots of people are working remotely. I think it's so sad for a city. We are, you know, the life stream, the oxygen of a city is bringing people back in. So to have a head office where people are coming from all over the Northwest to come and work in Liverpool city centre, it's really important. It's just been amazing. And it's one of those weird things where you just think, I'm on the right path. Isn't that mad? But you just think, I'm doing the right thing, I'm on the right path because the stars align so beautifully. And the purpose is simply to enrich lives in the cities we go to. Mowgli exists to enrich lives, starting with my people. So I don't wake up in the morning thinking how much cash can I make. I don't think about the bottom line. I think that's a real lesson in business. You take your eyes off the bottom line and the bottom line will come and you do what is right. So it is that point about I go to a city and it's how do I take a workforce and make it truly feel nourished, purposeful, you know, content in the place that it works. So that's it. So I focus on how I make my people happy. You have got happy chefs, you've got amazing food. If you've got happy servers, then the environment is somewhere you'd want to go and spend time. And that has been absolutely the key to success. Focus on how happy your people are and the bottom line will come. And it works. That really works. We're 700 strong now. We've only got 4 vacancies. At a time when you can't recruit into hospitality, that's extraordinary. So things like for my people, you know, we send them, you know, we pay for them to go, we send them to India for a week. Like I've got 13 people going to Assam in September to go and build elephant-proof fences and to work with female entrepreneurs. And we pay them to do that just because they come back. It's like I do with my own kids. And your life is changed forever. You know, every time you switch an electric light on, you think, oh my God, this is amazing. You know, it gives you perspective. So, you know, if you get your birthdays off, if you get a dog, you get a week's paternity leave, you know, you get your first day of child's school off. I care for them in the way that I care for my own kids. And that's the total secret to the success of, I think, of any business. And then it just makes the city a better place to be because there's somewhere nice that feels home from home where it's a good place to work. And we also have a charity champion in each Mowgli. We have a sustainability sergeant in each Mowgli. So we're turning every Mowgli city into a sustainable palm oil city, you know, working alongside Chester Zoo. But what that all means is that people come to work and they are outward facing, you know, and they might go on and build better restaurants than me with charitable giving at the heart of it. That is amazing. And it's that kind of sentiment, constantly thinking, how do I make these people into better people and happy people, that is a secret to success. I was born in Ormskirk, went to uni in Liverpool, and then worked in Liverpool. This is my home, you know. And I always say, you know, I'll be carried out in a box from Liverpool. This is where I'm from completely. I don't sound it and I don't look it. But what does this, you know, what does somebody from Liverpool look like? But you know, this is it. This is where I live. This is where it matters to me. So it was only going to be Liverpool that I opened. And what I love about Liverpool is I opened a weird restaurant. I opened a restaurant that is predicated on a cold vegetarian starter. And this city embraced it. There were queues of people to get into Mowgli, and thank God this city has continued to honour Mowgli, you know, and that's the way that we can just make the world a better place. And Liverpool got it, and that gave me the confidence to take it out. London was the last thing I was going to do. You know, I've done it now. What am I, 7 years in? I managed to do a site in London. It's not that. It's the fact that Liverpool did it. Therefore, I knew Sheffield would get it. I knew Nottingham would get it. Preston, we opened yesterday. Glasgow, these cities would get it because this city showed me that this is a viable product, you know, at the right price. It's all of those kind of things. I I don't think there's a limit to where Mowgli could be. That's what's so exciting. There is really not a limit to where it could be. There are some countries that have more of a passion for it. I think America would be great for Mowgli, because I think America understands Mexican food, it understands coriander, it understands cumin, a little bit of heat. All we need to do is overlay our Mowgli spices into that, and I think we've got, you know, like in Breaking Bad, that blue meth. That's what we've got. Do you know what I mean? I get really excited about that. There are certain European countries that it just wouldn't work in. Italy and France, their food culture and their culture is such that they wouldn't. They're like the Indians, the Italians. We don't want to try other people's food. Terrible. So, but places like Germany and Holland, you know, are places I would think of. But that takes some thought, and we've got a lot of runway in this country still. You know, we're only 21. That is nothing. It's nothing in terms of expansion. The world doesn't owe you a living is the number one thing. So if you've got a job, stay in the job that you're in while you do the research for the next one. So like me, it just means you get no sleep for a little while, but do both jobs so you know you've got complete security in that second rope that you swing to. So if you want to start a cake shop or whatever it is you want to do, stay in the job that you're in, build the cake shop, open the cake shop, and make sure you've got enough money there to pay for the responsibilities that you have, because the world doesn't owe you a living. You don't just start signing on and have a little venture. Do you know what I mean? So I'm really passionate about that. You know, I just think I've got to contribute. That's you just work, and I think that's the immigrant way of thinking about things. And also, it's that point about look and see if there is a gap in the market that you can uniquely fill. If it is cupcakes and everyone can do them, who's going to buy them? Do you know what I mean? It needs to be you uniquely having a passion or a skill in the area that fills the gap in the market. Then go for it.